My name is Brian Schwab. I own and operate Orlando Barbell, which is a 24-hour gym that caters to powerlifters. We've been here for 8 years now. I've competed in multiple federations. I still hold, I think, around 25 world records. The most prestigious of which is the all-time highest total, regardless of federation, in the 148-pound weight class, which is a 1930 total. I achieved that with a 765 squat, a 565 bench, and a 600 deadlift. I also have the third highest total of all time in the next weight class up in the 165s, which is a 2045 total, 2045, which I achieved with an 825 squat, a 622 bench, and a 615 deadlift. I also have competed raw, which is something that a lot of equipped lifters haven't done. And my best lifts raw, which is with just a belt, were a 535 squat, 352 bench, and 585 deadlift for about a 1475 total. Powerlifting consists of the squat, the bench, and the deadlift. Typically, in order to be considered a powerlifter, you would do all three. Squat, essentially, you stand with the bar on your back. If you were in a meet, there would be two commands. One is the squat, where you have to squat down to a point where the crease of the hip goes below the top of the knee. Sounds simple enough, but that's one of the things that's the most controversial and subjective aspect of our sport. Is certain federations say that you have to go convincingly deep, which would be below the crease of the hip being, convincingly below the top of the knee, which could be 2 or 3 inches below what other federations would consider parallel or breaking parallel. But that's one of the biggest issues with the sport, with the squat. The bench press is something that most people already know. If they lift, most people do the bench. It's where you lay flat on the bench. Some federations have a start command where you start with your arms extended, you lower the bar till it touches your chest, you get a press command, extend until your arms are locked, and then you get a rack command. Then the deadlift is just where you stand with the bar on the ground in front of you. Pick it up till you're fully extended. You get a down command from the judge if you're in a meet.
My name is Joe Jordan. I am a professional powerlifter. Powerlifting, I've been doing it 16 years consistently, probably about 10 consistently, but with injuries and stuff, you have to take some time off. But the past 10 years that's basically what I've devoted myself to. My favorite thing about powerlifting is the camaraderie between the lifters. Most of the guys that you compete against or train with are always going to be there for you. It's kind of like a big family. So even if you go to a meet and you're there without your team, there's always going to be someone there that's willing to help you out, help you put your suit on, wrap your knees, anything like that. There's always somebody willing to help.
My name is Greg Norris. I am a full-time student and I intern at UCF's Political Ecology Lab, as well as working at a grocery store. I've been training in powerlifting for 2 years and actively competing for 1. My first meet was a pretty surreal experience. I spent about 4 or 5 months leading up to the competition, training for it and getting used to the gear and getting my body acclimated to the sorts of weights that I wanted to be able to hit. It was nice to see all of the hard work come to fruition and see myself reach a lot of goals that I had and to total more than what I had expected to. So it was nice having my teammates behind me and having my family there to support me and to, like I said, see all the hard work come to fruition.
Well, I was a long distance runner, and while training for my first half marathon, I fractured both of my tibias. I got stress fractures in both of them. So while wearing the boot and everything, I was still trying to work out, and I started just strength training to stay in shape. And I found out about powerlifting because UCF was having a powerlifting meet. So I asked what it was, and then it seemed like I like all of squat and deadlift too. So I decided to train for a powerlifting competition once my shins were healed, and then kind of just took off from there.
I weightlifted and wrestled in high school, and I was going to the University of Florida, and I met a guy who was actively competing in powerlifting. This was back in '95, which is when I first got started. So I've been powerlifting for almost 20 years. Well, I round up, but it's almost 20 years.
I'm Dr. Jeff Seaver. I'm a periodontist in Winter Park. Been doing periodontics for 23 years and weightlifting for approximately 5. A good friend of mine introduced me to powerlifting. I'd never weight trained until about 5 years ago, and at that time I was pretty pathetically weak. And as I built up and got a little bit stronger, he introduced me to powerlifting. I did my first meet, I guess somewhere around 3.5 years ago. Had I known how bad I truly was, I probably would have quit, but it's been something for me to build on and grow on, and it provides me the ability to come in here and vent the end result of a long day.
Emotional levels, yeah, I lead a pretty hectic life. I do a lot of, I work a lot, and I go to school a lot, and I spend a lot of time in front of computers. And as a result of that, I need some sort of outlet, be it creative or physical, just in order to be able to kind of keep myself content with pushing myself both academically and intellectually as well as physically. Just makes me more well-rounded, I feel.
My name's Greg Godwin. I've been powerlifting for a little over 10 years. I'm 55 years old. I guess the biggest thing is it's a good objective way of measuring your improvement over time. Beyond that, just it's very emotionally satisfying. You come in after a day when, for me, I don't do much physical activity, and you get to go all out, and that gives you that endorphin rush.
It's helped me feel like a lot better about my body because you just feel a lot stronger, like a lot more solid and everything. I feel more confident about myself too. And also, I coach competitive cheerleading, so I'm consistently lifting girls to help them flip until they learn how to flip on their own. So it's helped me a lot in that I can coach a lot older girls a lot easier. So it gives me more confidence too, in that if they mess up big time, I'll be able to catch them easier.
I think that powerlifting does help your life out more in general with everyday life because it helps you to build your confidence, and when you build your confidence, it just spills over in other parts of your life.
Going back to just realizing that being able to realize that I could set an accomplished goal has helped, carry over in other aspects of my life. It's for me, obviously, it's helped me to open up my own business. Just having the credentials that I established as a powerlifter, as well as building up a clientele as a personal trainer, helped me to open up a gym and help to once again give back to the community and the sport of powerlifting by coaching powerlifters as well now. So it's essentially made me who I am.
For me, it's mostly competing against myself, and I think that's probably true for most powerlifters. I mean, it's always great to go into a meet and win your weight class, and I think I've done that once or twice. But since usually I'm competing against guys much younger than me, not so often. But with one exception, over about a dozen years, I've improved every meet. So,
With me, in general, I'm always competing against myself. I'm always trying to get a PR. So even if I'm in a meet and I do well and I place, in the top 3, I'm still not happy unless I've actually got a PR. So I mean, I can go and do well, but if I don't have a PR, then to me, it's not an accomplishment for me. I always want to do better than I did last time.
That's kind of a satisfying thing when you look back over the course of time. My squats almost doubled during that time, from mid 300s to about 700. So, and the other lifts have improved as well.
I would recommend powerlifting to someone else because the benefits of strength training carry over into every single facet of your life, especially when it comes to self-discipline and even just performing everyday exercises.
It helps to give a goal while you're training and what you're doing. A lot of people, I think, with powerlifting even, and for women particularly, it seems like when they get into lifting weights, they don't realize that you could actually lift more than what they're doing. So they're so used to doing the lighter weight, and when they lift more, it builds up their confidence, and I think that's why I like doing the powerlifting lifts, even though I may not have done a meet before. I just like to do those, I like to be able to do more weight, and that kind of training gears you towards that.
Well, for me, being at the ripe old age of 50 years of age, it's kind of an odd time to be doing this, but it seems to be the natural extension of weight training in order to continually show improvement in yourself as a person. And as unfortunately, I still consider myself somewhat of an athlete. So I've found the times that I've spent here in the gym to be an excellent time for both developing my body, mind, and some great comradeship as well.
Powerlifting, ultimately, I think most of us got into it because we were former athletes and wanted to continue competing, but it's also because we want to be able to improve on ourselves. So being able to set a goal and accomplish a goal, and powerlifting can relate to other aspects of your life, whether it be career, whether it be relationships, just being able to realize that you can set and accomplish a goal, it really carries over. Gives you meaning for everything that you do.
Powerlifting to me is, I don't know, over other sports. I can't really say why I would pick it over others. I mean, because I've played other sports, but as far as other lifting, like for example, the Olympic weightlifting, those guys are really strong and it requires a lot of technique and speed to do what they do, but at the same time, it's a very ballistic movement. So you're taking 300, 400 pounds and slinging it over your head. If you don't have proper technique or control of the weight, then you're going to end up snapping your arm, as a lot of people have saw during the Olympics. Whereas with powerlifting, when you're lifting, it's more of a straight line that we're moving the weight. And granted, we're moving a lot of weight, and yes, we do get injured, but the chances of injuries as compared to Olympic weightlifting are a lot smaller, as far as I know. I mean, I don't know the statistics, but just from what I've seen and what I can tell. So, but that alone, I mean, plus the camaraderie. I mean, if you're doing bodybuilding or football or anything like that, with football you're part of a team, yes, but whenever I played football, I didn't see the same camaraderie that I see amongst the players as I do amongst the lifters. Because with the lifters, we've all got a similar goal. We all want to get stronger. So that's why I prefer powerlifting over anything else.
Yeah, the camaraderie in powerlifting is definitely a really important aspect of it. I think there's more camaraderie involved in powerlifting just for the fact that we're trying to improve on ourselves. We're trying to get stronger. We're not necessarily out to get stronger than the next person. Of course, there's going to be some friendly competition within the gym, but it's not like, ultimately we're trying to improve on ourselves. So that's the most important aspect of it, as opposed to trying to beat someone else. Even in a competition, we're trying to improve on our best lifts from the previous meet, not necessarily to beat someone else. So
even the guys that you're competing against are in your own weight class, they're still pushing you to get stronger, to get better, because then in turn that makes them go harder to get stronger and get better to keep up with you or stay ahead of you. So I see that more so in powerlifting than I really do in anything else.
And we're like a family here. People come and go. I have to admit, since we're in a college town, there's UCF, Valencia, and Seminole are all relatively close by. So that people do come and they'll stay here for a while, but then they'll move on with their lives. But there's still a pretty solid community of people who have been here almost from the beginning.
Powerlifting is insanity.
For me, fun.
Powerlifting is dedication.
You could probably come up with other words, but fun is the key.
I'd say perseverance through pain.
Powerlifting is really exciting.
Powerlifting is commitment.
There's definitely a lot of pain involved, but pushing through that barrier is what gets you to the next level, makes you stronger, bigger, tougher, meaner, however you want to call it. But it gives you something to focus on to be better. Powerlifting is about numbers. You're competing in meets. It's not about if the judges like you or not. It's about if you get the lift or not. So it's it's all black and white. There's no gray area. So that's what we shoot for. We shoot to be the best.